10477.
City and state you were born in.
Uport, Mississippi.
Your mother's maiden name
Rush.
and your address.
6912 Mount Vernon Road, Uport, Mississippi 39744.
Thank you. One moment, please.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for calling Social Security. Para España.
You have a letter saying that you had an appointment on the 28th.
Ma'am, I had an entire conversation with you at the beginning of this phone call, telling you there was an
Okay, sir, but
Go
you said
ahead,
a
go
lot.
ahead.
So
Now you
I'm
talk.
asking you a question. Like, what is the big issue? Like, why
I'd like
why
to
are you
speak
being
to
so
your. I'd
upset?
like to speak to
It's
your
just a simple
manager.
question.
I'd like
I
to
asked
speak
you
to
if
your
you had a
manager.
letter
I'd
or an
like to speak to
appointment.
your manager. I'd like to speak to your manager.
No problem. One moment.
Social Security Office. Your call is important to us. You can do many things online at ssa.gov, like apply for benefits. Also, with a personal My Social Security account, you can get an instant benefit verification letter, check the status of your application, and most people can request a replacement Social Security card. We also offer services by phone at 1-800-772-1213. And in-person services is available in our offices. While most urgency, we always encourage you to make an appointment, as this will help us plan for you. Physical distancing and wearing of masks are required in our offices. We will provide a mask if you do not have one. Please be aware of individuals impersonating Social Security employees over the phone. If you suspect you have received a scam call, you should report the details of the call to the Office of the Inspector General online at oig.ssa.gov/report. Once you've completed your call with us, please take a moment to provide feedback about your service experience at ssa.gov/feedback. You can find the Social Security Administration online at www.
This is the Social Security Administration, right?
Correct.
Okay. I just was on a call there with someone who pulled up my account, and I'm not sure what they did, but they tried to transfer me to a supervisor, and the call went to a local field office who's under investigation for providing me misinformation. Can you look at this
What is
programs?
your social?
587 316485.
And your name
Zori Rush.
and your date of birth?
10477.
And where were you born, city and state?
Uport, Mississippi.
Thank you for calling Social Security.
6912 Mount Vernon Road, Uport, Mississippi 39744.
And where were you born?
Uport, Mississippi.
And your mother's maiden name?
Rush.
And what are you calling about? You said they're under investigation for
Providing
misinformation.
providing me misinformation. Yes, and I wanted you to look at this program's operations manual regarding the issue I'm calling about to see,
What is the issue?
well, compliance with this program's operations manual when I call the 1-800 number.
Give me one sec. One moment, hon. Give me one sec. Okay, one sec.
Okay.
Try to transfer the other. All right, I'm going to send you over to my supervisor, which is Mr. Tommy, okay?
Sure.
Should be going straight to it. One.
Mr. Rush?
Yes.
Can you hear me? My name's Tommy. I'm an operations supervisor here in the Kansas City Teleservice Center. You got a question today?
Yes, I have a question about a procedure in your operations manual.
Well, what's your question, sir?
Are you going to look at the manual that I'm asking about, or you just want me to ask the question?
I just want to know what the question is.
Okay. I want to know who is responsible for performing the procedure found in GN 00204.
Give me a second. Say that one more time.
Say what? One more time.
You said GN
00204.008.
008.
Yes. J dot. I didn't hear you.
Okay, give me a moment. Let me take a look at this policy.
Can you speak up? I'm not able to hear you.
I'm sorry. I don't have my headset, so it's coming through my laptop speaker. So I'm speaking as loudly as I can.
And you're saying you cannot manipulate your speaker so that you can be heard better? Does the Social Security Administration have something to resolve a hearing issue during a phone call, or is that being used, deniability being used for that, with that thing that you say at the beginning about the phone issues you're having? Because I'd prefer to speak to someone who I could hear clearly.
I apologize, sir. It's simply coming through my laptop speakers.
I didn't hear what you said.
As I can, and in the office, I have to have a mask on, so
I don't need. I understand you might be trying to speak louder right now, and if you are, the sound, me being able to understand what you're saying just completely went away. I couldn't understand what you just said.
so you still can't hear me?
Something cleared up amazingly, but your voice went down. Go. I can hear you clearly though.
I actually just got closer to the microphone.
Okay, well that's a lot clearer. Yes, we go ahead now. That's perfect.
Okay. Give me a moment, if you would, to take a look at this.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I did find this here. I'm reading it right now.
Okay, well, there's a specific section there that I had a question
What
about.
specific
If you
section are
want
we
to,
talking about?
It's J.6.
Okay, let me go down to that. So that is something that's going to be determined by the claims representative at your local office.
I didn't ask a question. Are you making a statement for a specific reason?
Yeah, you did say who's responsible, right?
Right, but I have a specific case by case analysis that I'm calling about, and you said something. You said that I'm guessing you are assuming that I've already provided the misinformation to someone, and you're telling me what to do with it, but I haven't. I mean, I have, but I haven't gone through this procedure. So my question relates to something that occurred at your teleservice center today.
What happened at the teleservice center today that you have a question about?
Okay, I have a case by case analysis about misinformation that was provided to me by one of your teleservice reps before I initiated this phone call. It appears to violate that section 6, where it says who makes the determination. Since 2019, two federal courts, the United States Department of Justice, the Office of Inspector General, the Office of General Counsel, and several other law enforcement agencies and components of the Social Security Administration have been notified that the local field office manager, operations supervisor, and just yesterday, the regional manager are all accused in writing of giving misinformation during this process. And just today, your claims representative at the teleservice center, when I called to find out about an emergency appointment that was missed today, your claims representative transferred somehow a call that was supposedly to go to a supervisor the way this call was, but it was transferred to the individuals who I have accused of giving the misinformation, which is the local field office. So in a
So
case by
they
case,
transferred your call to the local field office instead of bringing a supervisor online.
well, I can't say that that happened. All I can do is tell you that I dialed the 800 number. I cannot tell you that my phone has been hacked and when I dial an 800 number, or that you or someone that's maybe right down the street that's pretending to be the Social Security. I cannot verify that. The only thing I can do is get on the phone and try to get someone to actually use the procedure that I have in front of me in the manual, which says that someone other than the adjudicator or employee who gave misinformation will make a misinformation determination. So I'm trying to determine who's going to make the misinformation determination, considering the fact that I am accusing all those employees, including one of the teleservice employees, of giving the misinformation. The following statement answers that a claims representative also can develop for and make misinformation determination whenever misinformation was allegedly given by an 800 number agent if preferred evidence is available. So since I have evidence that's readily available, I just need someone to go over all the evidence that I have, including the evidence against the teleservice agent.
Okay. Maybe I'm not understanding what's going on. I what was your question that you called in with earlier that caused this to happen?
Who's going to do the determination in a case by case analysis? who's going to do not just some general determination, but the one I just requested about, the one regarding the employees who gave the misinformation were actually the claims representative in the local field office, the regional office, the manager, the operations supervisor, and your teleservice agent that I spoke with earlier today.
So
Who
basically what you're
does?
saying is you were given, I just want to be clear on this, you were given
Yes,
this information
yes.
and you want to know if this misinformation can be cleared up, and you want it to be forwarded to the appropriate office. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, absolutely not. I'm knowing that it can because I'm looking. Aren't you looking at the procedure that says how misinformation is cleared up? You just said you were
Yeah,
looking
I
at it.
see that, but I think we're talking about two different things.
What do you
You
think we're
spoke to
talking?
a representative on the phone earlier today. They
Right,
gave you misinformation.
right.
You want that misinformation cleared up. You want that
Maybe
representative to
you
know
don't.
that they gave.
Maybe you misunderstood me because I didn't include the fact that these are cumulative acts of misinformation. I don't know what state you said you're in. Kansas. Is that what you said?
No, I'm in Missouri.
In Missouri. Okay. Well, each state has a different means of explaining how one misinformation can be tied to another individual saying something about that same thing and another individual saying something. Well, that's what's happening is that misinformation was provided and then there were other individuals who provided additional misinformation with that information, but it's all linked to the same evidence that there is misinformation in the claim file and that it's caused me to lose benefits. So that's the procedure I'm looking for is this section 202J of and 1631E of the Act that provides relief to claimants who lost benefits because they failed to file an application timely due to misinformation given by an SSA employee.
So
It
just
says
to understand what you're
employee,
saying
but
is,
in my case by case analysis, it would be employees. All of these employees gave misinformation about the same thing, and I have evidence of
what
that.
I'm saying is I give me a moment if you would, sir. I do understand what you're saying on this.
Uh huh.
So there was something wrong with your case. You were given this information. So yeah, what this reads is correct. That the claims representative at your local office would be the one to try to clear this up if there's misinformation, and they would ask for documentation from you
So
so
that
that they could clear
so
up the misinformation.
so where is that located? Because again, I can't even when you say that, and I read section 6 that says a claims representative other than the adjudicator or employee who gave the information will make a misinformation determination. That then makes what you're saying misinformation according to this, and that would be cumulative on top of this, according to the laws in our state. If you were to say that, and I read this here that says that none of those employees can do this determination, then that for me would be misinformation. So who, if that is your determination, because that would, I'm assuming that you're making a verbal determination on section 6 of this which is allowed. You're allowed to do that, at least according to this, when you're deciding who makes the determination. You, as an employee, are allowed to interpret the meaning of this, but I am, as the individual who reads it, am not required to accept your interpretation. So, since you believe that this says that I'm still required to speak to the people who I've accused of providing the misinformation, who do I speak to about you saying that and me saying that this means you're providing me misinformation?
I I don't know that there's anyone else you can speak with. I mean, you could go to
Okay.
your senator or your congressman, but that would be pretty much about it.
All right.
As I'm reading this, misinformation determinations for incidents, just as it reads, because we're at the 800 number, then
All I can do now, sir, is that I have one more question. Do you understand as the supervisor at teleservice that I am? I didn't hear you.
If you would you allow me to finish what I was saying?
Okay, if that's what you'd like to do with my time, go ahead.
Thank you. So, just as it reads right here, misinformation incidents or misinformation involving an 800 number or an FO will be developed and prepared by the servicing FO. So the servicing FO would be in your area. That FO stands for field office.
I
So
know.
I am going by how it reads here.
Okay.
I know that you said that you have an interpretation of your own. I'm going strictly by.
No, just so we're clear, my interpretation is based on my knowledge of all the factions of the Social Security Administration. I understand what you're saying, that that's how this reads, but I know the amount of employees in different factions of the Social Security Administration. When this issue arises, there is someone there. There's security. There's a law enforcement at your local office. There's someone that can provide relief with the capacity of employment that the Social Security Administration has. So when you tell me that the Social Security Administration employees interpretation of this specific thing on a case by case analysis advises the beneficiary or claimant to actually violate the procedure, I determine that to be misinformation. That if an employee, any employee, no matter how you read it, when you read it and it makes a determination that that the claimant is wrong in its assumption that this is saying don't do that, then that would be misinformation. Now, I'm going to show you why I believe that. If you look at a different one that's on the misinformation topic, is GN02250.061 that actually says how you should interpret misinformation when it's been provided to you.
You said you had another question.
Yeah, it's there. I want you to look at this that says how the employee should view the information when it comes from the beneficiary. If you could look at this other, it's a question about this other.
So you want me to look at the other one that you're talking about?
It's another programs. The programs operations manual has these sections on like these resolving different issues. Well, there's an entire section on misinformation, and I would like for you to look at this different proms operations manual section.
Tell me what you want me to look at specifically.
It's programs operations manual GN 02250.061. It's all right.
GN, you say it one more time. GN
02250.061.
Give me a moment if you would.
To be clear, I believe we've established that there is doubt here. That you read it as saying that it goes to the field office, and I read it as saying that some other component should handle it because the misinformation has been provided by the field office. That establishes doubt in the procedure to resolve the misinformation issue. Wouldn't you agree?
I would not.
So you don't believe that there is doubt established during this phone call?
No, no, I don't. I
So what do
believe
you
it's
think is
pretty clear.
what do you think has been established when you say that the program's operations manual procedure that you just read requires me to contact individuals I accused of providing me misinformation, and I say it reads that it must go to some other component based on a case by case analysis. What is that?
I'm not sure what you're saying, sir. My apologies. It just seems like this may be. I'm not sure if that's a rhetorical question or.
No, I'm asking you since it's not doubt. I'm saying that establishes doubt that you have doubt in what I have found as the resolution in the statute, and that you have doubt in what I found, and I have doubt in what you found, and that's been established during this phone call. I'm just asking you, is that true or not? Do you not agree that we?
I'm saying that I don't have any. I'm not really sure what you're saying. I don't have any doubt with what I'm saying.
No, do you have doubt
I
about
thought
what I
the
am
thread
saying?
was
Do you
very
have
clear.
doubt? Do you have doubt that I am saying when I tell you that the Social Security Administration, the entire Social Security Administration, on a case by case analysis, does not require me to talk to the people who I allege gave me misinformation, and that includes the field office. You doubt that? Do you doubt that?
I'm still not really clear on what the question is.
All right. Do you believe?
Do I? The only thing that I'm seeing here is when you're giving me um, pads to look at. I'm looking at the pads, and I'm seeing something other than what you're seeing, evidently.
All right. And is that
And it may be based on your
does
experience
that
that you've
not
had with
is that
the
not
office.
doubt? Is that not doubt? Okay, let's not
I,
look. Let's not go back there, whether or not that's doubt, because it's defined actually in the procedure that I'm telling you about the misinformation. If you look at section B, number 3, B procedure 3 in that program's operations manual, I have a question about that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir. You said to look at section C, which
B,
has
B is
examples.
in boy, B is in boy,
Yes, and boy, B3
B3.
resolve any doubt in favor of the beneficiary. Is that what you're looking at?
Right, correct. It says if
So
development
what
It says
bear
if
with me.
development does not preclude a finding of misinformation and the detailed allegation is consistent with the facts of the case, resolve any
Bear with me.
doubts in favor of finding that the beneficiary did receive misinformation. And I'm understanding that to believe that even if you don't think that someone other than the field office is required
Well,
to.
bear with me if you would. I want to ask a question if you don't mind. That's your courtesy.
If you want to cut
Let
me
me
off to
why
ask a
you're
question, then I'm not going to stop you from doing it. Go ahead.
fantastic. What this is? Did you have a? Were you looking for a waiver? And they denied
No,
you?
I'm
I'm
looking
trying
to
to.
report misinformation so that my records can be corrected as the courts ordered.
So this is actually what you're looking at in this GN is it has to do with a waiver.
The waiver can only be applied after the misinformation determination is procedure has
Well,
been.
okay.
I'm not debating back and forth about anything because this right here is the
Because
it's
this
what
is
go
this
ahead
is
you
not
you
conduct.
go ahead you go ahead.
This is just simply being taken out of context. If you actually look at A,
Yeah, it says misinformation is information that is incorrect or or incomplete.
this is
An
talking about
overpaid individual is without fault for an overpayment if they
that's
or
my
their
question.
representative.
Did you
Go
have
ahead. Are
overpayment?
you let me ask you this. Are you allowing me to speak throughout this phone call?
I'm trying to, but
All right.
I'm
Well,
trying to
I'm
get to
done.
where I'm
I've
bringing
already
you the
got another
information, and
call.
I'm not giving
If
you.
you've got my record open, you've got my record open. You see, I'm recording you. I'm recording you
I just need one person. I
waterboard.
don't
I'm
need for both of
recording
you
you
at this point.
waterboard a United States citizen on United States federal property. Right now, you are waterboarding. I believe you are actively and intentionally engaged in an act to use federal government property to harm the civil liberties of an individual attempting to provide evidence to the Social Security Administration that misinformation was provided from an official source. I believe that what you are actively engaged in right now. I anticipated it and I am recording it. I do not want to engage with someone who is actively supporting the waterboarding activities on federal property. Therefore, this communication and your ability to provide any additional misinformation using government property and my phone is now over. I already have another phone call in line and I am going to post a video of this recording so the world can hear you violate this policy. I want to provide information to the Social Security Administration that I have misinformation in my records. You think you've done something to help me. Now, because I'm collecting evidence of your crime, I'm going to allow you to speak now. But I'm telling you now, I'm using your entire conversation as evidence that you are actively engaged in waterboarding, that you are trying to use my voice and my mouth to talk about something while your agency already has all the information in writing. Now, you can say something if you want, but I've already told you because I know you are actively engaged in waterboarding, I advise you to hang up my phone before I find a law enforcement officer to arrest you.
Thank you for speaking with Social Security today. Take care.